Hey guys, Lamaisha Rhodes here. If you do not know me, I am the trucker's accountant and I help transportation companies to enhance their accounting department by helping them to improve processes, increase their profit margins, and I make the money make sense so that you can make confident financial decisions in your business. Today, I want to talk to you about how to determine reasonable compensation for S corp owners in transportation. Okay, so I've had a lot of people ask me this question. If you're an S corp owner, type a one in the chat box. Let me know if you're an S corp owner, and I want to get right into it. Before we get into it, really deep into it, go ahead and let me know where you're checking in from. I always like to know what's going on, where you're checking in from. If you do not know, I am in the suburb right outside of Atlanta. It's Douglasville, but I am originally from Chicago. So while you guys are typing in the chat box, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to determine reasonable compensation for your S corp owners in transportation. So the IRS basically states that your compensation needs to be ordinary and necessary based on your industry. What is that saying? What that says is that are you are you doing the work that matches the pay that you are receiving? In a nutshell, that is what it's saying. So, are you an owner where you are making 500K and you are coming into the office 5 times a month, working 3 hours every time you go? That may not compensate. That's not going to compensate for the compensation. It's not reasonable compensation. What is your job title? You want to make sure that it matches. And on the other end of the spectrum, maybe you're an owner and your compensation is extremely low. Your compensation is 25,000. Let's just say 25,000. Your compensation is 25,000. From that $25,000 compensation, of course, you have to pay taxes. You have to pay these things, but you've put it low. You've put it low because you don't want to pay the taxes on it. That would be a red flag. That's not reasonable compensation if you are showing up in your business doing all of the things like maybe a fleet manager will do, or you're doing the things that a full-time dispatcher will do, but you're only paying yourself out a certain amount. So make sure that it makes sense. In a nutshell, make sure that your job title matches your job pay. For my owners who are you've gotten your S corp and you have everything that you need. You've been in compliance, but you're not quite sure how to, if you're paying yourself a reasonable compensation. Make sure you're doing that. Okay, so I have 2 comments. Let's see what the comments are. Okay, so I have people who are from, Alvin says he's from New Orleans, and then I have someone else who says they're from Ohio. Well, greetings from New Orleans in Ohio. Thanks for joining me. We are really discussing your how to determine your reasonable compensation for if you're an S corp owner in your transportation company. Typically, you want to make sure that it makes sense. Is it ordinary or is it necessary? That's what the IRS is going to say. Is it ordinary? Is it necessary? I had a client where they came in and they wanted to be evaluated on, okay, we have all of these things, but am I paying myself a reasonable compensation? Well, after our preliminary review, the client was paying themselves out about a 500K. It was about 500K that they were paying themselves out. And after reviewing what the owner did for the company, the job title, what the owner did, it did not make sense. So of course that was a hard conversation that I had to have with the owner, but it was a necessary conversation because what the owner was doing was not ordinary and necessary based on the transportation industry to get paid out that particular amount of money to justify that. So they were a red flag. So essentially what we did was we sit down, we talked to the owner, let them know that no, this is not a reasonable compensation. We switched it to fit a reasonable compensation, and then we just created a plan to get that owner to what that reasonable compensation was within the next 12 months, what will see fit for it, because essentially that is what the owner was, what they needed to survive off of. You hear that? Mayday. Are you paying yourself a reasonable compensation? All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I wanted to really just give you guys that information. If you know of someone who has questioned if they're paying themselves a reasonable compensation, go ahead and share this video with them so they will know if their compensation is reasonable or if it is not. All right, until next time, my name is Marsha Rhodes. I am the Trucker's Accountant, helping you to make your money make sense, okay? So that you can make a confident financial decision and of course, increase processes and procedures and pay the least amount of money in taxes. I cannot leave that out. All right, if you are not my friend, we need to be friends. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Make sure we are friends. Make sure you have the notification button on so that you know what I am doing. So the next video, we're going to do a series on SCORP. So join me tomorrow when we answer the next questions about an SCORP, what we are going to be doing. Let me think. What we're going to do. Our next topic, I'm not sure. If you have a question about an SCORP, type it in the chat box. It may be the question that I answer the next time I go live. Bye.